It's wonderful. Go
I
ahead, girl.
appreciate
Yeah,
that.
go ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I really appreciate that because my whole thing is the children that are being sex trafficked, like that is the biggest issue. Like, I swear, as soon as everybody realizes that, hey, you know what, we need to all come on board for at least this.
We can agree, like, if we can all say, let's locate the children,
right?
Everything else stops.
Because, and guess where you can start? You can start with your politicians who you know.
You can start on the block. You can start with your next door neighbor who everybody know something ain't right.
Right.
The guy in the corner who you know.
Listen, I'm saying you guys have elections coming up.
Yeah.
Can we please stop pretending that we haven't seen people from the Democratic and Republican Party on Epstein's Island? That's my thing.
Yeah.
It's both sides. You cannot trust any of you. If you truly want peace and prosperity for humanity, if this is what people really want, no bullshit. If that's what people really, really want, then you will have to say these are not candidates that any of us believe in. So this is not a choice. If you only leave me an option to vote for Democratic or Republican, that is not a choice. We don't have any part in the process to their candidacy, them being eligible. We have no part in that. We're given representatives for us who don't come from us, don't come from any kind of lifestyle of the people who they govern, who they deem and say what they need and what's enough.
Yeah.
They've never lived that life. I can assure you that you are not familiar with any of the faces that have ever been your representative. You're not familiar with any of those people. You've never met anybody like Donald Trump in your neighborhood. You've never met him.
Right.
You've never met Obama. And I'm talking about energies. Yeah. You don't even meet those energies because these people are groomed.
Right.
You'll never mingle with them. Right. But they get to say what you need in life.
Right.
And you know that they're partying with people who are harvesting children.
Right.
And
so that's a start.
And like we keep saying, all of us, we're doing it to ourselves. And every single action is like everything is glued together. And every single action, it involves us continuous to keep doing it to ourselves. This thing with the, so we realized that JFK, with the sacrifices, they have to be public. And everybody has to just ignore what they see. And the better job you do with that, the bigger reward you get. So JFK assassination was in 63. So 13 years after that was 76, which was the creation of Apple. Steve Jobs opens it. So 1975, you have the creation of Microsoft in Los Alamos, New Mexico. 13 years prior to the creation of Microsoft in Los Alamos, New Mexico, the Trinity bomb was created in Los Alamos, New Mexico, 13 years prior. So understand that the bomb that destroyed Nagasaki and Hiroshima was rewarded with Microsoft. And those bullets that took out JFK, your iPhone is the reward for the murder of that president.
Interesting.
And to forward it, now that we're changing tune a little bit, I want to explain to you guys what Santana's doing, because I just came across this to kind of give you a definition of what this is. This is basically called Pelodromes. So we have Pelodromes where you have in our structure in this physical time-space reality or time-space, however you want to look at it, everything is linear. So when you have a drop of water, you have a center and then you have a ripple. You have one going to the right, one going to the left, however you want to distinguish that. And that's what a palindrome is. He's figured out a pattern within the arithmetic of this construct. I don't know which one that is, but we were just speaking yesterday about it, that I've came across one that's called isometric, which basically is that you find two same events in history, you take the years between that, and you'll be able to see the future. Case in hand with the JFK. If anybody knows, what's the guy from Europe? I was the guy who was assassinated, Ferdinand.
Archie Ferdinand. Archie Ferdinand.
Ferdinand.
Okay,
Archie
so if anybody knows about his assassination, that's what led Europe into World War I, supposedly.
Right.
Yes.
He was assassinated in 1914. Big reason which people don't know is that he was against the banking system, the Rothschilds. They're always involved. So if you go back in history and you find out who was assassinated before him, it was Abraham Lincoln, right? So Abraham Lincoln was murdered in 1865. He was assassinated, and he was another one that was, regardless of what you think, he was against the banking system. He was about to do a proposal that was going to shut down. You see what I'm saying?
Correct.
So you have 1914 and you have 1865. That's 49 years. Now this is how people who are called seers or prophecies can see the future. So if you take 49 and you add that to 1914, what year does that land in? 1963, which is the assassination of JFK. He was about to bring out a proposal that was going to bring down the banking system in the United States. So you see how that's called isometric palindrome?
Interesting.
Yeah, you're able to find these numbers and these correlations, because whatever happens right now in this current moment, has already happened in the past and it's going to happen in the future. So me doing my research, and I give a lot of credit to Jason from Archaics, man. Shout out to that dude. This is the guy who had put me onto this formula. So you have the Twin Towers, 9/11, 2001. Whatever you want to call it, these planes came in and hit the Twin Towers, correct? Well, people don't know that in history, that actually happened before in New York City. So when the World Trade Center was first built, it was the tallest building in New York City. And I think it was American Airlines. It actually ran into the World Trade Center in 1973.
American Airlines.
Yeah, 1973, right? So then you have the one. So you have the one that
keeps coming up too. This is a recurring year. Continue on.
Yeah. So 1973 happened, right? We forwarded to 2001, and you have a difference there of
48 years.
48
wait a
years.
minute. No. I'm sorry. No, I was thinking about something else. Go ahead, brother.
No, it's 28 years.
28 years. Yeah.
So you have two concurrent events that happened to the two tallest buildings in history. So that tells me that if you add 28 to 2001, what does that give you?
29.
2029. So that event is going to happen in 2029 to the largest building, and the largest building right now in the world is the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. So you see how
we do want to mention that they do not have running plumbing, and every day they have to get like 50 tractor trailers to pump out all of the poop and deliver the poop away. What kind of engineering is that? You don't make a toilet. Continue on, brother. I just wanted to point out that some things don't make any sense.
They don't. But that's really what it is. It's really leading that we really live in a simulation, and everything is expressed through numbers, letters, geometrics, symbols, things of that nature. So this is how you're able to figure out and predict what's going to happen in the future. You find two same events that happened in the past. You take the difference in years and you just add it to the middle situation, which gives you the future. So in 2029, lo and behold, that plane's going to hit the tallest building, which is in Dubai. It's no longer in the United States.
That's interesting. You said assimilation, because Star Trek, the next generation, the Borg, assimilate.
Burj Khalifa.
Star Trek is Tupac Shakur and Taylor Swift and sex trafficking. Now, if we look up, Tupac Amaru II was a real Native American Jesuit Indian who was an Indian, apparently, that was trained by Jesuits in etymology. It means to be deceitful. And the Jesuit oath is quite interesting. If you research what they say, they want to burn in hell. Yeah, exactly. They want
That's my son.
Of course. God bless your son. God bless. Yes. Talk to me. I love you. Yes. You're with me. I'm you. That's me. So this assimilation that we're saying, they do it in dates and they do it with me.
What's he saying?
Pardon me, gentlemen.
I'm sorry.
This is brand new. This is unusual, and this is a good thing.
He sounds like a whale. It sounds like whales, baby whales, making.
Let's figure it out.
Yeah, it's really crazy because he, I told you he's nonverbal. So
Oh, is he really?
yeah. So when he tries to say something, we try to like understand what he's saying.
Oh, sweetheart.
Yeah,
He's feeling us. He's feeling.
Yeah, he's.
no, listen, he won't leave. Like we were like, all right, well, you just going to be down here.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
It's all
please.
good. It's all
Absolutely.
good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My God. Wow.
Yeah. No, listen, this is crazy. It's crazy because we talk to random people. We try to put out this information as much as possible. So we get weird interactions back with certain people. And it's like even people that try to argue because they want to bring God into it. And which I respect everybody, what everybody believes in and everybody's God and all of that stuff. But some things are just like, okay, regardless of whatever your God is.
13 is not going to offend
The numbers don't lie.
Right. So we got to wait to have a discussion about the past, future, and the present. And we don't have to offend anybody's religion by saying, hey, simply listen,
take the religions out of that.
number out here of what things are taking place.
There are formulas that you now have in your arsenal to figure things out. Exactly what Santana's saying. It's no longer your belief in the equation. We have the formula.
Right.
When Christopher Columbus burned the Native Americans, he tied them in the numbers of 13 and hung them and burned them too.
And I was going to also tell you that Lightfoot, the woman back on Lightfoot, she has to be a part. She has to be a part of the lineage of the Native Americans that sold out America too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like so I was telling Santana, I said, so clearly we got to look into that lineage of Lightfoot because that you're going to find your core of where we started being sold out over here too. And you're going to find it connected to the Salem witch trial too. Watch.
So let me ask you this, Jay, because you're the proficient numerologist here. So 13, we understand the number to that. We understand the energy, or some people do. So 1 + 3 is 4, which is death. So do you believe they're using that energy in reverse, or do you see where I'm going with that? Because just like you said, Christopher Columbus, he hanged people when he was 13. 13 here with his formula.
It's a very good point. In the tarot, the hangman is upside down with one leg doing this, making the 4. Mm-hmm. It's inverted. Yes. So there is also the 4 is B, Beats by Dre, letter B for blood. So they know how to use the symbols and the numbers. And what happens is, when you're watching a clock, and the stock market and the numbers flip and transform and constantly, and the 1 and the 2, they're always kind of shape shifting. Mm-hmm. So that's what's happening. We're like a stock market of death, and it works. And the numbers don't discriminate. The numbers don't care if you're a good or bad person. They don't care if you're into tantra or they will do what they do. If you're a sorcerer or a magician, you have to know who you are. I'm a magician. We are all magicians, not sorcerers. But we better get hip, because they know our tarot and they know how to flip, you know what I'm saying? They know how to flip this money on the street. You got to flip the money. There you go.
That's what I've been telling people. Like, listen, we are dealing with sorcery. Like they literally sent us to school, and they sent us to school to tell us that everything that they send us to watch on the TV and the movies is real. I mean, it's fake. But they are actually performing sorcery on us. Yeah. And we're just going along with it.
Yeah, the WW, this whole online thing, which is worldwide witchcraft, this is the biggest sorcery that's being played on the scene.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. I've seen this as a cashier, and here is why also, I don't know what's going on with this one. So the older women are interesting. So as a cashier, I often open up to my customers. You know, they ask me how I'm doing, all this stuff. So in one case, I had one customer who liked my energy a lot. She wanted me to open up. I opened up to her, but it was weird, right? So she was like talking about something, and then I got personal. I said, yeah, my mom mentioned to me that when I asked her for an apology, she said, yeah, you know, I wanted to have an abortion when you told me that you wanted me to apologize. Now, when I told the customer that, she looked at me, she goes, oh yeah, make sure you don't drop my brownies, my vegan. She literally couldn't process, and she turned a personal moment into an awkward joke about the food that I was, and I was like, wow, you know,
you know what I learned.
But you know what she used to say? I'm vegan. She used to say I'm vegan.
right.
But I've learned that when people ask how's your day,
I'm sick of it.
We were just talking about that shit. We were just talking about that.
Hey, here's the thing. She does meat and does vegan. And that's part of me, Santana. Yeah, exactly. Part of me, Santana.
She's a meat. Oh, she's a vegan.
She's a meat. Yeah.
That's a good word.
I've heard also, what is it called? They eat eggs still, and they're called oval vegan, some shit like that.
Overlacting? Is it overlacting?
Oval vegan? I don't know. Listen, my point is, do you see how fucked up we are? Like, that's, pick a
Because you
side.
gotta keep putting a label on yourself. You gotta make a distinction. That's what I'm sick of.
These people, they are the voters. They are the ones that want to vote and don't have the actual capacity to see Epstein as the pedophile. All that, they can't see it because they're too busy with their little cupcakes and their discounts, and they're not dealing with their trauma. Back to you, me, and all of us here. What are we doing? They don't do. Why we can see the children? We are talking about our pain, but we're empowering ourselves, and we're encouraging people to go back to their freaking childhood and deal with that. Otherwise, you tell them about Epstein, it goes in one ear, out the other. I want my discount. I want my vegan Beyond Burger. I want my Beyond tampon. I want Beyond condom, Beyond birth control. I want my Beyond TV. And no one is grounded in being honest. And you can't always be in a good mood. I am getting tired of being asked, how you doing? How you doing? I'm doing great. I just scanned a chicken missing its head. Okay? You're not doing good. Okay? Don't give me that shit. I have a customer. She loves the fucking leg of a lamb, bleeding. She's like, how's it going, Jay? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm holding the leg of a lamb. Honey, I love you, boo-boo. You're not doing good.
Look what you're making me do. Look what you're making me do. You're making me participate. You're making me participate in this frequency.
This vicious cycle.
That's why I walked away from the prisons. That's why I wrote my letter, because it was like
I can't do this anymore.
I'm not going to just be a part of anything. It just I can't do it. It just hurts. It hurts too much. Yeah. And I rather eat oodles and noodles again, which aren't that bad. You put an egg and some ketchup, a little soy sauce, cut a little onion in it. Man, that's a meal then.
A little cachu. We call it cachu. A little cachu.
I can think. I understand.
Well, you cacciatore. I got your cacciatore over here. Okay.
and that's the thing. You know, it's what's even not even talked about with this trauma is, like, even for me, what I realize, and that's the thing, we're sharing our real life experiences that happened to us as a child, and some people can't even come to that point.
Yeah.
And especially coming from a masculine, you know, being a man, a lot of people think that's being a man. That's not being a man. And sometimes we have so many traumas that we forget about them. That's what people don't understand.
We have the traumas because of the labels and the distinctions that we have to constantly, like, right. I heard you literally just named like 8 distinctions just within that less than a minute spill that you just gave. I mean, you spoke of a man, masculinity. I mean, all of these labels that we have to attach to ourselves. I mean, down to, you know, why are we even talking about a gender? Let me tell you something. You know when you're looking at a woman, and you know when you're looking at a man.
Or you're looking at a booger wolf. A booger wolf could be a man.
It could be confusing.
A booger
It could
wolf,
be confusing.
but it's
You're
all
boogie nights, man. You're boogie nights.
Yes. You know, like you know, and my whole thing is I don't care. I don't care what anybody does in their bedroom.
Well,
Keep it to yourself. I'm not going to talk to you about what I do. I don't want, it shouldn't be a discussion. So then you know what? In the bathroom thing in Europe, they have one bathroom. Everybody goes to the same bathroom. You know what? The door is locked. You know when you can go in after the door is open and the person leaves out. And sometimes it's a guy and I'm walking in and he's walking out.
And most of the times they're not washing their hands.
Most of the
after
time
they
they're not.
come out of that bathroom.
Most of the time they don't.
I
you
saw it in the airport. I'm just like this, looking at homie like,
Yeah.
Did you forget something?
Yeah. So
Oh yeah.
hey.
Liquor.
yeah, but America, America.
But urine ain't all that bad too. So he might
Yeah.
be just.
It's the principle. It's the principle, man. It's yours. It is yours.
But I mean, but this is exactly what I mean. I'm like, it's a fight for everything. I mean, we're fighting about bathrooms. We're fighting about tampons in boys' bathrooms. These are the fights that are in the media. I'm not kidding.
But here's the thing though. These fights we're having
A fake.
but people didn't have these discussions. Like no one said that there were anything before.
Right.
These are labels that are being created. Everybody just ate their food and no one talked about it. Anybody said, hey, what did you eat? They say they had dinner. But these labels are thrown out. Like, what people got to understand is when you look at, in our generation, when we look at Left Eye and what she was going through when she was having her meltdown as a grown man, and we look back and we say, she looked so young. She was a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And we're finding that babies aren't exploiting babies. Adults, we are watching adults exploit babies. You know, the same way
Yep.
these adults exploit and use a Britney Spears type character. These aren't children. These are adults doing this to children. And these children are being sexualized in their performances.
Mm-hmm.
Other children aren't saying do these things. These are adults
Yep.
giving these children directions.
Yeah.
So we gotta ask some questions because
They're determining what the children want to see.
it looks harmless because all you see are children around, but it's the adults. Like it's terrible when you think about that. An adult will build up a child like a Justin Bieber. Sweet, beautiful spirit. I don't know him personally, but frequency-wise, he's got a beautiful spirit. His spirit and Floyd Mayweather's spirit, people have no idea how beautiful those guys' spirits are. And the media asks why they're hanging out because Floyd is a super thug and Justin Bieber is a Canadian R&B singer.
Mm-hmm.
I like Justin Bieber.
But to keep it real, he has some inappropriate things about babies. And he has a song, Baby, and he's got some symbols about children that's inappropriate on his Instagram.
Oh, see, I don't follow Justin Bieber,
Yeah, we don't
man.
know anything like
I don't
that.
know nothing. I just know he said.
And I know when he came out with that song, Baby, he was like 12. He was like 12.
You find it interesting, though, talking about sex now. They ask you what sex you are. We have a sex drive, sex traffic. Traffic was a movie, drug trafficking, Rush Hour. Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan, JC, Jesus Christ.
He went to Epstein's Island.
Exactly. So the way
the
way we see the patterns is to do what? We have to get into the sexual energy. We have to reteach sexual education as well. Sexual education is a mess. We all know that. You know what I mean? They say, you got a this, you got a dick. She got a vagina, it goes in, the sperm finds the egg, and then there's millions of them, and that's it. I'm like, so obviously, right? Obvious ovulating, right? Over my head. Why is it over our head? Why can't we see it? We're doing too much of the wrong kinds of sex, and we're missing the children. And we're wasting our children. You know what's funny too? Your urine, phosphorus, means to bear children in etymology. Phosphorus, morning star, it means to bear children, as does Lucifer, as does Venus, as does Satan and Diana. And it was founded in 1777, the year after 1776. And what year was that? The Constitution was, yeah. And then they discovered that there's bearing my children in my morning star, my Luciferian. So what's happening when I wet the bed, when I pee my pants? We should be looking into different ways of healing as well. So it's not realistic that we're going to get people to be aware of the trafficking. I'm going to be real with you. People are so controlled, but we should find like-minded. So I told this person who I actually influenced to change her diet and to go from being an atheist to seeing God as the generator of vitamin D. I told her that. I said, you can't save, you can't wake up everybody. I said, you get your phone, you go to etymology. And I had her read that phosphorus. She even said, oh, it means to bear children. Ironically, this is about children. And she loved that part of it. Only 20 years old. I said, you go to your job and you just read the people and you look for someone to find that moment. You pull your face and say, hey, did you know that your phosphorus means to bear children? What you're doing there is this. You acknowledge all of the dead children and all the ones that are kidnapped. You're doing a mantra and a ritual, because we're gonna have to do rituals. When you give someone a fact and it hits them and they wake up, you are saving a child's soul and their life to a certain extent. You are. Everything that we do is conscious, even if you can't physically be there and save them, because it's not realistic, because they got our asses, y'all. They got us with this freaking pop culture. So, but the mantras, the rippling, the echoing, you know how dolphins communicate? They echo. Sound, vibration, education. Once again, the importance. Back to the vegan. I'm only a vegan. I'm only an activist. I'm only this. I'm only that. You're missing it. You're a child that's unique with symbols that relate to stars and light. Why are they called the Illuminati, and why is that associated with eating babies and drinking blood? If it's about light, it's a dark fucking light, and it's known as Saturn. So you better know your fucking chrono shit, because it's Corona. Yes or no?
That's what it is.
Dance with me.
I'm with it.
No, that's what it is. And that's the thing too, is it's the way I see it is we have a bad model. It's broken. And no matter how much we try to change it, it's the foundation is bad. So just like you said, there's gonna come a golden age where things are gonna change. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, listen, as long as we all know, that all these people are a part of this kind of stuff and they literally run our world, they dictate how we live. You know, like, and we know that these people are in it. So it's just like, come on, like, attorneys, if you are an attorney and you see this, attorneys, use your degree and figure some way that something can be done in this name of humanity.
Well,
because something has to be this, and some action has to be taken place by humanity. Let me just say that
has to be
something unified by humanity has to take place in opposition of the powers that be right now that are governing us.
So the algorithm points to an event. Everything's connected. Every single thing connected. So before we get into the event, we have to address what we know.
I'm listening.
We have to address what we know. And if we can look back at the algorithm and say, okay, we know this wasn't right, this wasn't right, this wasn't right, we can still get justice. There's energies that are building up right now on the ethereal side, whatever you want to call it, but there's energies that are building up and it's coming. And these energies, they have not been, their spirits haven't been atoned. And that 400 years right around the corner. But what's coming, this event that's culminating is again, something that we're doing, they're making us do to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And we set in motion for it. And what something we've done to ourselves has set in motion so, it's enough to, remember I was saying how Tituba the Slave, a couple of shows back, Tituba the Slave in 1692, because there was a miscarriage of justice during the Salem witch trials. They hung those 19 people. They were able to enslave the entire population that they said had any Black blood in them. And that's the true Black slavery, the 1705 Virginia Black Slavery Act. Well, I've been kind of debating. You need me? Get mine.
Can we see your child?
Oh, I'll give him a second. In a second. He'll come on because he's he'll come. Give him a second. Well, come on. So do y'all remember? Do you guys know who Edgar Casey is?
Not
Edgar
great.
Casey. Okay, so forgive me, gentlemen. Edgar Casey is like, they call him the Nostradamus of the West. They refer to him as the sleeping prophet. I used to read about this cat when I was a young man. He had the ability to go in a trance, and he'd tell a person, he was in Virginia, and he'd tell a person in Seattle what to do about their child just by going to sleep. He'd wake up and call him and say, give your child 2 tablespoons of sodium chloride. He's amazing. It's something special. He was describing what America was going to look like in like 2065. And the description is not the same landscape. It does not look the same. I'm not talking about lines being drawn. I'm talking about an event. And we've done everything we need to do for the event. And it's culminating. During the last reset, 1912, prior to 1912, transportation was, you saw Titanic, those type of ships were those are how things, the railroad and those ships they were big things. They were big commodities. You had, because they were the things that the last reset deemed as important, damn it, you had shipyards, which meant, because everybody built ships, there were great jobs because of ships. But once the ships went out of business, the people who went out of shipyards went the way of the job because of the reset. Well, this last reset, we got into the age of automobile manufacturing. And we decided to get off of what we were getting onto. Tesla was talking about solar back in the early 1900s before Titanic went down. And we were still dealing with steam, and we were dealing with coal. And we decided to go with oil. And when we decided to go with oil, we decided to compromise. The same way, when you go with oil, you compromise your values, and you invade a country on March the 23rd, 2003. March 23rd, 2003 is the birth of a fire demon. And they went in that place called Iraq that same day. And we all know the resurrection of this thing that we're calling the Antichrist Babylon, Antichrist Iraq. We've murdered over 1 million civilians in the name of Christianity in the Iraqi conflict. And despite all these things taking place for these weapons of mass destruction, this nation still re-elected the same president after murdering civilians. over oil. So I can't tell you a date right now because I gotta leave the country first because I'm a crazy man. But if I were you, gentlemen, I would look at Bird on Money once again because it's a third event. And I would ask who is monitoring our pipelines, gentlemen? That South Dakota pipeline that everybody fought over and the natives fought over and the Marines fought over. Well, there's an event that you're gonna look for. And let me go ahead and break this down. Fuck you if you don't like it. It's called the flash. It's the flash. There is a flash that we're gonna all see that's going to fuck us up. It's the flash. They're putting it on your phones. You look in your movies, everything that's involving time right now, all these movies in the comic books, you're gonna see the Flash character keep coming up.
Like the Men in Black thing too, with the little light thing, and then yep.
Yes.
Bingo.
That's the Flash. But it's gonna be very tragic because what they're trying to pull off is, you understand that you got two veins, Pennsylvania pipeline, and you got the South Dakota pipeline. If a flash hit those pipelines, brother, we was in Iraq because of what? Oil. And we watched over oil. So where would you strike if you were somebody who let people watch people die and get murdered over oil and still elect a person who murdered people over oil? What karmic energy would you think would be just if you were a creator? And if you watched it happen to somebody else? Look at Bird on Money. There's a date, there's a pattern. Man, you can't watch. You have to do something. Man, I'm over here getting harassed, disrespected to a level that I did not know was possible.
Let me do, not to cut you off there, brother, but it's about to end. Y'all want to go one more? We done? How y'all want to do this?
Y'all call. You call.